Well, Book Dragons, the news broke the other day that Brandon Sanderson is officially bringing the Cosmere to Apple TV. That's right, not just one particular book series. It sounds like we're getting the whole kit and caboodle at some point. So I'm going to start out just by reading a couple of excerpts from this article, and then I'm going to share some of my thoughts on what this might look like, what we can expect, and let's go from there. All right, so the article starts out, could the next great fantasy screen franchise be here? Apple TV believes so. The streaming giant has closed what has been described as an unprecedented deal to land the rights to the Cosmere books, the fictional literary universe by fantasy author Brandon Sanderson. The first titles being eyed for adaptation are the Mistborn series for features, meaning feature films, I'm assuming, anyway, and the Stormlight Archive series for television. And then it goes on to say, the deal is a rare one, coming after a competitive situation which saw Sanderson meet with most of the studio heads in town. It gives the author rarefied control over the screen translations, according to sources. Sanderson will be the architect of the universe, will write, produce, and consult, and will have approvals. And I'm going to stop there because I think we're getting the gist of this, and we're going to talk a little bit about what this means for Sanderson fans, for the Cosmere, and what those adaptations might look like. And I'm also going to talk about one of the reasons why I think this may be a big deal that Apple TV is taking the reins. Okay, so let's start out talking about what we kind of already know and dig a little deeper into what this might mean. We know from the article that the Mistborn trilogy is getting a series of movies. I don't know if that means that we will automatically be getting Mistborn Era 2 as well at some point. Probably a lot depends on how well received the movies are. And I think Mistborn Era 2 would be a lot more fun than Mistborn Era 1. Mistborn Era 1 has its great moments, don't get me wrong. I think it would make a great series of movies, but I think Mistborn Era 2, at least for me, is where Mistborn really shines. So hopefully that means that all of this is going to be greenlit. It probably doesn't, but that's the theory. Streaming services are weird, though, because they really look at the numbers, and if it's just not meeting their expectations, they may not want to continue. But so far as we know, we're getting a Mistborn movie series, and we're getting a Stormlight Archive TV series. And this is huge, guys, especially because the Stormlight Archive is not finished. It had a definitive end to the first arc, so at least we have that. But it remains to be seen what that's going to look like as the series progresses. Brandon is a really prolific author, so I don't think we have a lot to worry about as far as delays in releases of those books. It will take a while just to adapt the first 5 books, so he's got plenty of time to finish the series. So I'm very curious as to what that is going to look like. I would actually prefer to see an animated series for the Stormlight Archive. Mistborn is fine to do live action, although it would probably benefit more from an animated series as well, but who knows. Apple TV is not known for animated series, although they do have a couple, so I guess we'll see what that's going to look like. But I know that Brandon Sanderson was influenced in many ways by Japanese culture and manga and anime as far as the way he writes his books and designs his stories and the characters that he thinks of in his mind when he's writing. So that might be interesting to turn it into an anime. I don't think that's going to happen, but it would be kind of cool. I think it could work. So I'm very excited about this. This is huge. And it's funny, it's really ironic that it came on the heels of a previous video I did that's really blown up on YouTube. I don't know how that happened, but it did, talking about adaptations of books that the article I read claimed were better than Game of Thrones. I don't think the Stormlight Archive holds a candle to A Song of Ice and Fire, but it's a decent series, and I think it would work really well as a visual entertainment piece. So this is huge. Brandon's been shopping his Cosmere for a long time. Mistborn specifically, but others as well. So to see this come to light so soon is really huge. And then, of course, he's getting a level of control that no author gets. Probably because he's Brandon Sanderson, and he's, done multi-million-dollar Kickstarters and everything. He's become kind of a household name in fantasy. So I'm not really shocked that he got this level of control, but at the same time, I am shocked that he got this level of control. I mean, to be writing on the series and to have approvals and be that involved, I'm impressed and amazed, and I'm sure he has a huge department that's devoted to securing those kinds of deals, and they probably went back and forth on several of the details, but I'm excited. And I will say that Apple TV is a platform that is willing to take risks. We all know that Apple has money. They've got plenty of money that they can throw at this. And of all the streaming services that are making content right now, Apple TV puts out some of the highest quality content I have ever watched. There's other good stuff out there, but when it comes to making a unique stamp on the entertainment market, Apple TV is really killing it. So everything I've watched on Apple TV so far has been amazing for me. And I'll talk about some of those so that you get kind of an idea of what Apple TV has to offer. But yes, I think Apple TV is a great platform for a huge fantasy universe to make its debut on. And I think it has the potential to really be good. I think it has the potential to be better than the books. I really do. And I'm a fan of the books. I like them, right? Some better than others. But I think as a visual entertainment piece, there's a lot of potential here. That's all I've got to say on the deal. I'm sure we'll be getting more details from the House of Sanderson eventually. He had scheduled a video to talk all about it, and all of a sudden that video just disappeared. So I don't know if they got the request from Apple TV not to make one, or if they just didn't have time to do it right at this moment, because Brandon's a very busy guy, and Dragonsteel Entertainment and their properties is a huge machine with lots of cogs. So I'm sure there's a lot happening with this behind the scenes that made them feel like, maybe they were jumping the gun with releasing a video statement about it. So I'm really excited about this. If you are a fan of Brandon Sanderson's books, you're probably very excited. I know people that are way more excited about the Sandoverse than I am. And I can imagine they're just beside themselves on the floor, eating peanuts and thinking about all the things that this could mean for fantasy fans. I'm excited for them, and I can't wait to see what comes of this. I think between the two, I'm a little bit more curious about what the Stormlight Archive is going to look like. For the most part, Mistborn is a pretty straightforward series, But there's a lot happening in the world of the Stormlight Archive that will be very crucial to get right, I think. So I'm very curious who they're going to cast for Hoid. I know of all the characters, you're probably like, why Hoid? Hoid's a big deal in the Cosmere. Just, I would love to see who they're going to cast for Hoid. Let me know in the comments below who you would cast for Hoid, who you might cast for Vin or Elend, or any of the ska characters in the series. I would love to hear your thoughts on the casting. I did a video a few years back that was a fan casting for Mistborn, and, that was just playing around. But now, I think we might need to do an updated one, because that could be really huge to kind of look at the current set of actors that are in Hollywood and imagine who might be some of our favorite characters from Brandon Sanderson's works. I'm already thinking about maybe Henry Cavill as Dalinar from the Stormlight Archive. I think Henry Cavill would be a solid choice for Dalinar. I don't know. Maybe you have a different idea. Let me know in the comments below. So now we're going to talk about Apple TV's track record. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail here, but I just want to remind you or inform you, if you were not aware, of just how good Apple TV is compared to many other streaming services. They are very much a curated streaming service. They don't just create a whole bunch of stuff and throw it at the wall and say, here you go, if you like this, great. If you don't, there's always other stuff over here. They really, really curate their content. So I'm just going to list off a few, starting with ones that I have personally watched and really enjoyed. The first one of those is Foundation by Isaac Asimov. That's a very hard book to adapt, because there's not a lot of detail in the story. It's more of a series of short vignettes about what's happening in the world of Foundation. And so you're just getting little snippets of information. And they kind of had to go into the story and figure out, okay, how are we going to expand on this and make it into a full story with the little that we have to work with. And I have to say, I've only read the first book, but I feel like they did a really, really good job adapting it with the little that they had to go on. And it's coming into its 4th season. I don't know if they're shooting it yet, but they have announced the 4th and final season for Foundation, and it's done really well. I still need to watch season 3. But I love Foundation. It is a fantastic show. Is it way more than Isaac Asimov ever intended? Yeah, probably so. But it's great. They took a property and expanded on it and made it its own thing, and I'm really impressed with Foundation. So if you have not watched Foundation, you need to go check it out. Another one is Dark Matter, based on the book by Blake Crouch. Dark Matter is a fantastic book, and they did a really good job of adapting that book, I personally think. It's dealing with multiverses, and I think it's a hard book to pull off, but Apple TV did it. They did a really good job. And it did kind of leave it open for maybe continuing it into a 2nd season. I'll be curious to see how they do that, because there's only one book and they kind of finished the book material, but I'm excited. I want to see more. So, Severance is another really good one. And I've watched both seasons of Severance so far. I'm waiting for season 3. And it's a really hard series to describe. You just have to watch it. Such a unique concept. And the characters are really well developed. I think it's a great show. And maybe it's not for everybody, but I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see more. It is a sci-fi story. The title may not sound like it, but it is wholeheartedly science fiction. Really, really good. And that's the thing. Apple TV has mostly done science fiction. And there are elements of sci-fi in Brandon's Cosmere. If you know, you know. But this is their chance to take something that's fantasy and, work their magic on it. So another thing I've seen on Apple TV, it's not fantasy related, but they also do really good documentaries. I watched a documentary called Black and Blues, kind of detailing the life and music of Louis Armstrong, who's one of my favorite jazz musicians. So that was really good. I enjoyed that. So they have a wide variety of content. They do have some animated stuff as well. So check it out. It's a lot of fun. Some really popular ones right now are Ted Lasso. It's kind of more of a sports slice of life type thing. I'm not really necessarily interested in it, but my partner loves it. So she's really excited about it. So I've heard good things about it. Silo is another one based on the Hugh Howey novels. I think Wool is the first novel. So that one is supposed to be really good. For All Mankind is another early space exploration into the modern era type of thing. I've heard really good things about. Murderbot got an adaptation on there as well. So that's something to maybe look into. I read the first 3 Murderbot books and I enjoyed them. So I'm optimistic that I'll enjoy the rest of the series. And I do want to try out the show at some point. Monarch Legacy of Monsters. This is a TV series based in the kaiju mythos, with Godzilla and Mothra and all those different kind of characters. I've heard it's good. I haven't watched it, but you might check it out. And apparently Neuromancer is coming to Apple TV soon as well. And I DNF Neuromancer, but I see the appeal of it, and I think it would probably make a really good TV series. So Apple TV is a great platform for Brandon to go with, I think. I don't know when these are going to be released. I think they're just in the pre-planning stages at this point, so it's probably going to be a while, but I'm excited, and I hope you're excited. And if you're not a Sando fan, that's great, but you might tune in and see what the shows are like or the movies are like. You never know. It might appeal to you on that format. So let me know in the comments below what you think of this news. Are you excited? Are you one of the mega fans that is on the floor eating peanuts, just, thinking over all of this news? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear some of your casting ideas of who they should cast in different roles. And guys, I hope you will be reading more books, and I will talk to you very soon.